Hi everybody, it's Lisa Goodell, Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and today I have the latest paper pumpkin kit, and this one is May 2023 and it's called Exploring in Color. And I took the plastic off, and the only thing I did was look at what stamp color we get this month, which is Copper Clay Stampin' Spot, and then I also just looked briefly at the stamps. Which is really cute. It's kind of all outdoorsy stuff. It would be good for masculine type cards. This one says cheers to another adventure, and that's kind of cute with the coffee cup. It also has happy birthday, life is meant for good friends and great adventures, and it doesn't matter where you're going, it's who you have beside you. And then there's a compass and a hiking boot. So that's the really cute stamp set that goes with this. And in here, this is a sneak peek for next time. It says next month's kit is more inviting when it's combined with the coordinating Countryside and Sweet collection. And for today's, this month's, it talks about Exploring in Color add-on. So if you like what the projects are today, they're saying you might want Exploring in Color cards and envelopes add-on. In addition to what's in this kit, you might be interested in stylish shapes dies, a Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine to cut the circles. So like this example here where these circles are layered over each other and making a label. So also there's the QR code. You can scan the add-ons that you might be interested in and coordinating projects. So that's also in here. Okay, so enough of that. I want to see all the stuff is in here. So let's open this up. And here's the kit. If I can get it out. Well, use the tissue paper to get it out. I used to pull the whole tissue paper out, but now I leave it in here. So when I have extra pieces, again, I can pull them out if needed by pulling up on the tissue. So for right now, I'm going to set this aside and let's open this up. These kits are nice because pretty much everything you need is in the kit, except for like scissors or like take your pick tool. It usually comes with adhesive, comes with ribbon. In this case, it looks like we're going to get some linen thread. Looks like this is coming with some full-size Stampin' dimensionals. Oh, look, here's the envelopes. Look, there's some little bison or buffalo. And this one's a mountain. This one's like a hiking trail. So it looks like there's 3 kinds of envelopes included. And here's these really pretty full color card bases. Wow, look at that hiking bison. This would be really cool for maybe Rocky Mountain National Park, Yellowstone, the Rockies, the Canadian Rockies maybe. Let's see, here's another one. This is really pretty, canoe and a lake. Those aren't really the Grand Tetons, but some cool mountains in the background. And then the third one is this background with, again, it's like a hiking trail through the mountains. So these are all scored, so you can end up folding them in half. I would presume that that's what you're going to do. And then it has that pretty picture that continues onto the back. And it also looks like there are some labels that come with this. And some more good stuff down here. This looks like there's some kind of stickers. Oh, paper pump. I wonder if that'll be interesting to see if we actually use these on the projects or if these are just fun stickers to have to put on drink cups or laptops or anywhere you want to put like vinyl stickers. And then there's also some cutouts here. I'm guessing this is probably Moody Mauve, which is one of the in colors. And then here's binoculars and compasses. And we have some little adhesive dots here. So that is what comes in the kit. Now let's find out what we're going to do. Let's see, where's the, oh, here. I always forget about this. You kind of have to pull this apart because this is the instructions on the bottom side. I'm always so interested on what is actually in it, but I always forget about that. And then I think, oh, there's no instructions. Then I finally find them. So this opens up, and here you can kind of maybe see the cards that you're gonna make. These are really fun, simple cards, and these are great for anyone who loves the outdoors, but they definitely would work for masculine cards. Okay, so they have this divided up. Here's the first project that you're gonna do. Here's the second project, and then here is the third project. And on the back, oh, okay, on the bottom here, it shows the different materials that you need for each project. And usually, here on the back, here we go. Usually there is a link here to a video you can watch, detailed instructions for this kit when you scan the code. And then here it shows everything that should be included. And then here's some examples of other things you can do with the kit. So on these projects here, you might need additional materials to make these. You might need a different kind of ribbon. Here, this is kind of that example that it showed over here with using the stylish shapes dies. So there's lots of things you can do. Plus there's always additional things besides what's on here that you can just use your creativity to do more. For example, there are more stamps here than what is used on these cards. And that's one thing that's really nice, is that you do get the coordinating set. And again, these phrases here, you can use these anytime. Even if you don't want to use it with these sets, you can use this with other sets and colors in the future. So this kit is really cool. So let's go ahead and see what we come up with. So if you're new to Paper Pumpkin, what they suggest you do, and this makes sense to me too, is to sort out the items you need for each project. Because one thing you will notice is that they will give you extras. Sometimes when you're all done with these cutouts and things, you might have a couple extras. So for the project 1, you're going to use this card base, you're going to use these 2 labels, you're going to measure out and cut some of the linen thread, the binocular sticker, you're going to have the happy birthday stamp, and the copper clay ink spot. Now one thing here is the clear block. Now the first month that you get Paper Pumpkin, it's going to come with a little clear block. You will not get that block in the next month or the following months. If you continue to subscribe to Paper Pumpkin, you only get it the first one. So you always want to hang on to it. But of course you can use any block that you want to do that. And then, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to sort all this out, and then I'll be right back. So I want to jump in here while I'm doing this just to give a couple of hints. The first is, so on this one, you're going to make 3 of each project. So it's a total of 9 projects. And the way this ended up with the paper, you did not get any extras of the little pictures or the Moody Mauve pieces. However, on the labels, I used that whole page, but on this one, you do end up with 1 extra of each one of these labels. And the other thing that I wanted to say is, when you look on this sheet here, it tells you how much of the linen thread to cut out. So right here, it shows you how you're going to do it, and it says 12 inches or 30.5 centimeters. And what's nice is if you don't have grid paper or a ruler handy, you can just open up the directions and see that there's a ruler included. So what I'm gonna do is cut out my linen thread now. Okay, and so the one thing that you do need some scissors to do this. Everything else I think is pretty much included. So I need 12. So I'm just going to measure that out to 12 and then cut that. Another thing that I wanted to say is when you have the little cutout pieces, Sometimes they kind of have little hanging chads on here. I don't know if you can see the little white stuff. So if you don't like that, you can just take your bone folder or kind of a rough edge, and if you kind of just rub on it, sometimes you can get that to fold more flat so it's not as noticeable. Another thing that you could do is maybe use like an emery board. That might do the same thing, but I find if I just kind of rub that a little, it's not as noticeable. And also this is printed on white paper, so this is not the same color all the way through like our cardstock. And same thing on here. You can't really notice it too much, but if it bothers you, you can just kind of rub that. So those are my tips for that. And so I'm not going to show you how to put these together as explained in the handout. However, if you click on the Paper Pumpkin website, or even go to Paper Pumpkin on YouTube and look at all the videos, the first one that comes up is going to be May 2023 if this is current for you, or whatever Paper Pumpkin monthly kit that you get. If you look, all the past assembly videos are on there so that you can see how to assemble them if you want to assemble them as they were created on here. So what I'm going to do though is I'm going to look at these and see how I might want to change it to make the most of the project materials that I have. And the first thing for me that I thought of in this was to use more of this beautiful card base. So instead of folding this and this being the card, I was thinking I might want to cut it in half, and then I can use this for a card and I can use this for another card. Then the same thing would be for this canoe one. Here's the lake with the canoe on the front, but if you look on the back, that looks cool too. That still has some of the lake and the mountains. It just doesn't have a canoe. And the last one is the one with the little river or stream and the tent and the bison with the nice grasslands. And on the back, you still have the grassland with the bison and the mountains. And so this would be still a really cool card, even though it doesn't have some of the details that's on the front. The other thing that you could do is incorporate the envelopes. Let's say it doesn't matter to you if the envelope looks really fancy and cool. You could decide, like on this one, this does have the stream. You might decide that you want to cut this out and then add that to either the inside of the card, or just add that to another card, or add it to other designer series paper to make a card. Actually, with this the flap being colored, you can even use that if you wanted to cut that out to layer that as some cardstock. That one looks like it's boho blue. This one looks like it is probably the moody mauve, and this other one is the copper clay. So you could cut that up and use that to layer on your card too, if you want to make a different design. Okay, so I have this card base and I have this envelope. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this out, and we're going to just see what it's going to look like on the front here. So I'll fast forward through the cutting. I'm going to have to cut this. So if I'm going to layer this on something else, I'm going to want to, if this were to be cut a little more on the side here, that's okay, but I don't want this to be cut off. So I'm going to do this at 4 1/4, which should not cut that off. Okay, that's good. And this over here, I'm going to want to do this at 4. So do I want to cut it right there? It's a little bit close. I'm going to just move it over a tad, and then I'll turn it around here and cut it at 4. There we go. I still like the idea of having the bison or buffalo off center there. And then now when I cut off the top and the bottom, I'm going to want to use part of this on the inside of the card. So again, this is going to go to 5 1/4. So do I want to cut off 1/4 inch here, or do I want to do some of the top? But for this one, I'll do the bottom. So I'm going to save these to use those on the inside. Okay, and so now I have 5 1/4 by 4 inches. And then this here, I'm going to cut off. Well, maybe I'll actually cut off the top of this one. So 5 1/4 here. And I'll save that. And then here I will do this side at 4, because again, the edge of the stream there is right close to the edge. Now let's see what this is going to look like. This doesn't have the stream, but would I want to put this down here, or would I want to put it up here? Because that would be kind of covering up. If I did it here, it would cover up a little bit of the bison here, but I can always cut this and put them on. On this one, you're gonna, instead of doing it straight across, I'm gonna angle it just a little bit there. Well, except this would be cut off here. So actually, this would need to go over here to the side, which is okay, because this bison would still be all right. Okay, and then on here, I think I also would want to raise it up. Now, to give this a little bit more strength, you could put a little extra strip of cardstock here. So like for this piece that I don't need anymore, maybe I will take this right here, because that's a little thicker than these middle pieces. If I glue that on here and then stick the dimensional on there, that's going to help it maybe stick up just a little bit. So let me glue that on. I'm going to do this on my silicone mat, just so if I get a little glue off my paper, it will be on the silicone mat. It's really easy to clean off. Okay, so I'm going to put this on here. So I'm going to cut this edge off here so it is right on the fold. Stampin' dimensionals. That on there. And when you turn this over, there's a little bit extra here, and then there's the extra here. Actually, okay, I'm going to cut this, but I think this actually needs one more piece. There's a small piece of the dimensional over on the end. This seems a little too floppy to me, so I'm going to actually put this on the bottom piece. Make sure that is there. Okay. Put that flat across. Now I can just trim this from the other side. Hopefully I didn't cut up a bison. Woo, I didn't. Okay, yay, that's good. And then over here, this is sticking out just a tiny bit. This one I think I'm going to cut it off from the front. Well, maybe the back. There, that makes it a little straighter. Okay. And now I'm going to have these bison that I'm going to add on here. Okay, I'm going to put him over just the very edge of that stream or river. So if I put him like that, I think I'm okay with leaving the wheat down here on the bottom, but I think I'm just going to cut around him. The back end of other one. I'm just going to go straight down. Now, if you don't like cutting this by hand, what you could do is glue this onto this other paper before you glue the whole thing on. Again, if it's not perfect, you're making something that is handmade. And so I don't think we have to worry about it being super, super perfect. Just like I have some of the white showing behind those trees. And if you want to trim it a little more, you can always trim it slightly more. Now, one thing, if you don't like the white behind these trees, you can take a little bit of ink. Let's see. I don't know if that would be Mossy Meadow, maybe. Okay, I'm going to get a scratch paper here. Yeah, I think that will. That's pretty matches it. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is with my scratch paper, I'm going to just kind of put that underneath. And then I'm just going to just dab at this just a tiny bit. There's more green here, and there's a little more white here. So then I'm going to cover up that part. It just takes a tiny bit of this to kind of just pop that on. And there's going to be less white showing over there. But really, to me, it's fine if the white does show. Okay, so now what we want to do on this is we want to put a sentiment or something down here. Since this is sticking up, we want to probably have something else sticking up. So on here, I'm going to go back to the sample. So this is the original front. It has the binoculars and happy birthday on here. So it looks like you could still do the same thing down here if you wanted to. So if we take this and the Moody Mauve piece, let me put that down a little. Another thing that you could do too is take the sponge dauber with a little bit of Moody Mauve, and you can always go around the edge if you don't like how the edge of this is white. So on here, they have this on here at a slight angle. And then this needs to be stamped on, of course. But then that's going to be going the same. Yeah, the edge here is going to be on the same side. So that's going to be like this and like this. And then there's the binoculars. And the string looks like the linen thread is wrapped around the bottom piece. Okay. Oh, on here you don't even have to tie it. It looks like you just do a loop, and these dots are the little adhesive dots or glue dots. I guess just one time. Then flip it like this. Yeah, I guess that's it, except you got to do the glue dot underneath. Okay, so I'm gonna put this together so that stays together with my reversible tweezers. And then I'm just going to put one of these adhesive dots right in the center, it looks like. I'm going to take the backing off. And then I'm going to put this on here and just push that down because this is going to be in the background. So you can put it however you want. And then this is going to be over the top like that. Okay, so now we need to stamp our sentiment, which I'm going to go ahead and do the happy birthday like the sample shows. So here's the happy birthday stamp. I'm going to put it on here. And we're going to do the copper clay. Okay, now in here you can open up the copper clay Stampin' Spot if you don't have that color. And well, I do have it, but I'm going to go ahead and do this anyway. Sometimes, depending on the stamp, sometimes it's easier to use the Stampin' Spot. So you do have to kind of use a scissor edge or a knife blade to cut across to open cut through the label so this can open. So let's compare how this looks using the Stampin' Spot and using the regular ink pad. So I'm going to stamp on here, get my practice paper here, and let's see how it stamps. Okay, so that's how that stamps there. So on here, I'm going to stamp it this way, but I want to be careful not to get ink all around the edge that I'm not using. So I'm just going to stamp it just one time. It's all you're going to need, and I'm going to stamp it here underneath the other one. There. Huh. That looks like it smeared just a little. So let's try it again. I probably moved my paper. There. Okay. So that looks good. So I'm going to go ahead and use the full size. Put my paper down. And let's look here. How does it have it? Okay, it does have it stamped kind of right in the middle, but over here it kind of looks like it's more to the side so that you have room for the binocular. So I'm going to maybe do it a little bit to the side, to the right side. Okay, there we go. Okay, now when you start stamping, it might put a little color on your stamp pad, but as long as it's clean, then if it has a little color on it, that's not a big deal. It's not going to ruin anything. Okay. I'm going to get out my Stampin' Dimensionals again. Okay, and I'm going to put one right here on this piece because I want it to keep the linen thread down. We'll just reinforce it a little bit extra, even though it has that glue dot under there. Then I'm going to go ahead and put this on this end and put it on this end. And then on here, I'm going to put this top piece a little more straight. So you just see a little bit of the Moody Mauve underneath. Okay, I'm going to press that down, and then the last thing is to put on the binoculars. And I'm going to do that with the multi-purpose adhesive glue, or you can use the adhesive dots if you don't have that. Okay, I'm going to put this. I think I'm going to put that just a little bit on the high side, since you can just see a teeny tiny bit of that Moody Mauve down there on the bottom. Okay, so now this is ready to be layered on a card base. And you can choose a solid color if you want to put behind this, and then put it on a card base of basic white if you would like, or you can do just a solid color. Is that the Mossy Meadow, I guess? So you could layer it on that. You could layer it on this. If you wanted to layer it on that, that would give it more yellow. I don't know, I think I kind of like the Mossy Meadow, but you can do whatever you would like if you have extra of the cardstock. So this was layered at 5 1/4 by 4. So if I want to have a layer of this on top of a base layer of the thick cardstock, then let me figure out what I need to make that at. Okay, so I'm going to cut this at 5 1/2 inches. And And then I am going to turn it, and I'm going to score it at 4 1/4. My scoring tool is the lighter color on here. The darker color is the blade. So I just remember to push away the blade and then use the scoring tool so this can be folded really easily and accurately. Okay, so then on this, what I'm going to need to do, okay, first I'm going to just cut this in half. So that is a card base if I want to use it, but now I'm going to make this smaller. So if it's this would be 5 3/8 if I want to just have that really smooth edge around it. And then here, instead of it being at 4, it needs to be at 4 1/8. Okay, let's see if I did it right. So it's just going to be a really thin edge around here of white, then the mossy meadow, and then I'm going to put my card on top of that. Okay, and then I'm going to glue this down on top of that. And I'm going to use, you can use glue dots if that's what you have. You could use the seal adhesive, but I'm going to use my multi-purpose adhesive glue. So I'm going to put that on the mossy meadow first, and I always like to layer this in a horizontal way just to try to get it more even. Then I kind of hold it up so that I can adjust it over just a little bit if I need to get that even. Okay, then I'm going to fold this, turn this over, go around the edges again. And when I put this on the base, again, I turn this to the side so I can do this horizontally. Okay, and then that looks pretty good. I usually also open the card base up when I do it. And push that down. Use your bone folder to push that down too. I don't want to push on this piece that's sticking up, but I'm just doing it on that background. Okay, and so I think we're done. I think maybe I want to trim my linen thread a little bit, so that's not up there. I'm going to trim it like that. And here, I think I might trim it right there. Okay. So that is our first card, which is a little tiny bit of a variation on the original one. And this is a way that I'm using the back. So this one is the front. And so I haven't made that card yet, but I could make that just as it is shown on your handout, which would be like this right here. So that would be one, and then this would be another. Now, the thing is, we only have 3 of the binoculars. So if you didn't want to use this, well, that's why you have the stamp. This would look just as cute if you had a compass, or if you even had the hiking boots, or even the cup, especially with this one, since this has a tent. So this is kind of like you're already staying there. So that would be cute. So maybe I'll do that next. But I'm going to fast forward again through this since it is similar to what we did before. So here's the original card that goes with the paper pumpkin, and then here is where I took the back half and I made that into another card that's very similar. So here was the envelope. I actually used the front of the envelope here to make another layer on top there. So that's my two cards. Very similar, but you are definitely getting more out of the pretty painting that's on this card. I think I'm going to make a part 2 of this for next week, since I did not make all the paper pumpkin projects and I only have 2 weeks left of school, so I will get through these busy 2 weeks, and then hopefully I'll be able to do some lives and do a little bit more creative stuff over summer break. But thank you so much for watching. Get more information on my host code information by going to the description or go to lisagoodell.com/hostcode.